Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Mark, this is MacGyver's Garage, and today we're out here to talk about something that I've been doing for a little while, which is the custom tune from 1FastSupra. Jesse, really what I wanted to get into today was kind of dispel some of the myths that this isn't truly a custom tune. What you get with this is dialed specifically to your car. And so let's talk about that. So yeah, a JB4 tune, even the custom, isn't going to be the same as like an EcuTech, MHD, or any of the other ECU tunes. It's not going to be able to get into the parameters, the fueling, all of that are available to those types of tunes. But what it will do is allow boost to be played with and play with a couple of the other settings, duty cycles, and really work on what your car can do without having to go through that process. You know, for those of us that have the 2021s and newer that have an ECU date of June or later, you know, we really have limited options without spending a lot of money, sending it overseas, sending your entire ECU overseas, limited options. And so something like this, for me, is the right option. This is my daily driver, and so I don't want to go completely crazy. I don't want to lose the car for a little while. And so having the ability to do a little bit more to it, get it up around the 500 wheel horsepower range, is something that's really cool with minimal effort, and something that, you know, if I was to sell it, I can just pop a few connectors off and pull it out, and it's good to go back to pretty much stock condition. So what does a custom tune from 1FastSupra actually look like? So Jesse will reach out to you and send you a file or a list of parameters that you'll plug into your JB4. So you'll go into the settings and you'll manually manipulate all of them, and then you'll save that config file, and that way you can reload it even after you make changes. If the changes don't work out, you can go back to what was sent before. And so you load those, and then you'll go out and you'll do a log. And it's real easy to log with the JB4. You just turn it on, you have it on, and you hit start logging. You do your pull, whatever the parameters are that he's looking for. Now, the key here, one of the things that really makes this a lot more effective and a lot more meaningful is if you pair your logging also with a draggy pull, so that there's some numbers and you can actually see whether or not you're making progress. Now, keep in mind that things are relative. You need to be really to compare numbers, apples to apples. The density, altitude, the height, the temperature, all needs to be relatively the same so that you're really comparing apples to apples. Like, I've done really good pulls with a really fast tune that are a second slower than some of my better ones, or over a second slower, but it was a better tune and actually stronger. The problem was I was at a higher density altitude, it was hotter out, and so I wasn't producing as much boost. It wasn't really doing, it wasn't performing at peak power. So as I'm sitting here editing this, I realized that I missed a key point that I wanted to point out during this video, and that's that these are custom tunes in that they are dialed for each individual car. And it's the reason even ECU maps, off-the-shelf maps, aren't spectacular. Those custom ones where they actually go in and fine-tune it towards your car are the ones that make the biggest difference. And that's the same with this. What Jesse's doing is taking the parameters that your car is outputting, making tweaks to boost levels at different RPMs, duty cycles, where the max boost lies, lots of different pieces there to get it as optimal as possible, to get the most out of your car. So what Joe down the street has in his Supra, and his Mark V Supra that's a 2021 exactly like mine, same car, is not going to be exactly the same thing that I need in mine. What may be just extremely off the charts good for him is just mediocre for me. And so every car reacts a little bit differently. How you've used it can play a part in that. Just wanted to add that in there. Now back to the video. All right, so one of the things you want to do is go out, do that pull, log your stuff, get that draggy, and compare them. And then you'll send all that stuff. I send a screenshot of my draggy slip. I send the file, I email the file over to Jesse. They take a look at it, go through the parameters, look at where either things aren't safe and may have to turn things down, or areas where you're not getting everything out of it. Maybe it's sluggish, maybe it's not picking up. For me, I'm also running meth. And so there's another page for the water meth injection page where we can adjust where it comes in, what type of boost it comes in, what type of RPM ranges it's functional at. So once you send that over, he'll send back new parameters. You go in and load those and you repeat the process. Now, depending on where you're comfortable and where you're happy, that process could be one time back and forth and you're like, hey, this is great, this is my daily driver, this thing's exactly where I want it. Or you could be taking it to the track, you could be taking it to the drag strip. Wherever it is, let Jesse know exactly what you're using it for, how you want it to perform, and you know, I let him know, hey, it didn't feel good here, shift between here and here didn't feel right. You know, after it shifted to this gear, it felt like it really got sluggish. And so that's what we're doing, is we're working on that, and it's constantly refining things and making it better. I highly recommend going with this method if you have an untunable ECU, if you don't want to take the time and the money to send your ECU overseas, have the worry, the concern about is it going to come back. Now, I will say everybody has had zero issues. I've only heard of one or two very small issues. But for the most part, people have had a lot of luck with sending it now to Finland and having their ECU unlocked over there. But for me, this was the right choice. This was the way I needed to go, at least for now. When stuff becomes available in the US and the price comes down and it's a little bit more reasonable, I'll relook at an ECU tune. And I actually want an ECU tune. I want to be able to do a little bit more with it. You know, 500, it's about 500 wheel horsepower, just a hair over, and about 545 torque. And that's at the wheel. So it's a sporty, fun little car right now, but I'd like to get a little bit more out of it. Maybe get it to 550 and 600. I know that right there you're kind of skirting the boundaries of needing a little bit of work done to the transmission. So that's where it kind of gets a little bit squirrely and you're not sure whether or not you want to go that high or even higher. But once you break that, you definitely need to get into the transmission tuning. But for what I've got right now, this car's a lot of fun, and really 1FastSupra has the solution for those of us that can't or don't want to send our stuff overseas right now. So check it out. I'll put a link down below to where you can find more information on their website and how to do it, how to contact and reach out and get something started with yours. Hope you guys found this informational. If you have any questions, any comments, leave them down below and I will absolutely answer all of them. I appreciate you guys checking this out. See you next time.